Ariel over here today, where we're having blizzards kind of on and off. It was snowing so thick you couldn't see anything just a minute ago, and now it's cleared for a second. They're calling for a foot or two of snow if they are right and know what they're talking about. Anyway, I'm here today to do an update on the ducks because several people have asked for that. Recently, I discussed it just a bit in our last live stream, but that was a little bit ago. Anyway, how are the ducks doing? They love the snow. They don't mind whatever the weather is, no matter how far below freezing it is. We just had a stretch where we had highs of 0 Fahrenheit, so well below freezing for several days. Hi, Minnie. And well, for most of a week, and it was 20-something below at night. So pretty cold. They're not phased at all. They still want to, splash in the water in their tub out there during the day. When they don't venture clear out across the property like they do in the summer, but they do range actually further than the chickens. And in the soft snow, if it gets deeper than where their feet can reach, it's kind of funny. I haven't got a good shot of this yet on video, but they'll just basically start to swim and leave these little trails through the snow. It looks kind of funny. It's they're happy to swim in water, whether it's frozen crystals or liquid. So they're very tough and hardy. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Ariel, my husband and I live in a little tiny house back there in the background. We are a little over 6,000 feet above elevation in the Wyoming mountains. It is cold and snowy for a whole lot of the year. So our ducks are blue Swedish. Well, most of them are blue. We got one black Swedish in there. And how are they working out? We are at nearly 2 years of having had the ducks, and I've done more recent updates on the chickens, who you'll probably also hear in the background. They more like to stay out of the snow. Your paws are so snowy. I don't want you pawing me with your snow. Yeah. Anyway, our Icelandic chickens are doing great. Foggy is still doing great sitting on her nest. Go check out those videos if you're interested. But how are the ducks doing? They have they've not turned out to be as useful as I was hoping. Now, I like the ducks. They're funny. They're fun to watch, whether it's summer and they're splashing in the creek or winter and they're swimming in the snow. This is Velcro if you haven't met her. She's our poofy kitty. They're a very friendly one. They're very, very cold hardy, so that works great. They're excellent in the summer at finding a huge majority of their own food. They love to forage all over the place. They slurp snails and bugs and I don't know what all out of the creek. They eat very, very little other feed in the summer, so that's great. We like the duck eggs. So on those aspects, they have worked not too badly. The parts that haven't worked well are we haven't got a lot of eggs. Now, a few of these things are not the fault of the ducks. You can go back and watch other videos if you want to see all their history, but we had, quite a few of the young ones killed when we were first getting settled in with them by a coon. Of the ones that remained, we ended up with only 1 female and 4 males. So that's obviously not helpful for egg production. The ones that we have here now are that original lone female that was left, and the rest are her babies that were hatched here at our place last summer. And here's our other man cat. He's much bigger, but less fluffy and less yeah, I know. Less interested in being picked up. He wants attention, but not picked up. So our one lone female duck in the nearly 2 years we've had them now is the only one that has laid eggs for us. Bertha, Mrs. Quack. And we did love her eggs, but she didn't start laying until April of last year, sometime in April, and she laid from then until she was hatched in, let's see, early June. So she was almost 10 months old before she laid any eggs. Then she laid an egg every single morning. This is the other thing I like about ducks that I'd read about them. They lay consistently first thing in the morning. So when you let your animals free range like we do, that's very handy because they're locked in their secure coop over there overnight for their safety. It's very easy to for sure find all your eggs because the ducks will lay all their eggs first thing in the morning before you open the door and let them out. So you never have to worry if they've deposited them somewhere else around the property. And she was very consistent on that. I do not know how early she was laying her eggs in the morning. I just know that no matter how early I got up, she had always laid it before I got up. So I don't even know. It might have been like the middle of the night for all I can tell. So that part I also really liked. And she laid one egg, great big egg, every single morning from then until like early July when she quit. Shortly after these babies of hers hatched, and she has yet to lay an egg since. So it's most of July, August, September, October, November, December, January, and February. So it's been almost 8 more months that she has not laid eggs. Now we're getting back to about when she started laying last year, so we're hoping that her as well as her daughters here are going to start laying soon. I was kind of waiting on that to happen to do this update, but it hasn't happened yet. So none of the younger ones, who have looked like adults now for most of 7 months, have laid an egg. So in the nearly 2 years of having ducks, we've gotten duck eggs for 3 months, or April, May, June, 3.5 months of the time we've had them. So when you hatch your own chicks on your place, which is what we wanted to do, or ducklings, you're eventually going to end up with extra males, just like with our chickens. And with the extra males, what we plan to do is butcher them and put them in the freezer in the fall, because you don't need half roosters or half drakes. While our chickens make an excellent, very tasty, small but very tasty rooster, and while Clay and I have both had ducks that we really like to eat, we did not enjoy any of the duck that we raised. People talk about it being very greasy. Ours were actually dry. I tried cooking it in various ways, very slow roasted, braised, long and slow in a crock pot with lots of moisture, and they were edible, but we did not enjoy any of them. So we are now almost 2 years into having our ducks, and other than the enjoyment I get from watching them, they haven't been very productive. They are bigger than the chickens. Our chickens, Icelandic chickens, are small. Our hens are 2.5 pounds, and the roosters are 3.5, 4 pounds. Ducks, blue Swedish ducks anyway, are closer to 8-pound birds. They're almost twice as big. They eat probably more than twice as much food. Again, in the summer it's not a big deal. They range for most of their own, but we obviously have lots and lots of winter, about 8 months of it per year. So we have fed many ducks now for most of 2 years and gotten eggs for part of it, and not really any meat that we enjoyed. So since we didn't start out to keep pet ducks, we wanted them to be profitable around here, profitable in some way, doing something useful. Even the kitties are profitable. They keep all the rodent population down, which keeps the voles from eating, gophers from eating the garden, and keeps the other small rodents from eating our chicken feed. And anyway, they have their own useful jobs. The ducks have not been very useful, which is unfortunate. I think Clay was about ready to just toss the whole idea and just stick with our chickens, because we have been very happy with them. I had originally picked blue Swedish ducks as the breed we would try, because I knew they were very cold hardy. They're a heritage breed. They're supposed to be decently good at raising their own babies. We ended up, of course, with a situation with only one hen duck. She did not sit her own chicks, or ducklings. Well, she did for one day, and then she quit, and our mama hen, one of our Icelandic chickens, Ember, hatched the rest of them. So overall, I don't think the blue Swedish ducks have turned out to be a really good fit for what we want in our climate. I still like them. They're still fun. They're still here. But what we've done now is I did a lot more reading again. I'd done a lot before we went with them and thought they would be a good fit. And I seem to have picked well with the Icelandic chickens and not so much with the Swedish ducks. So this is what we do, is we share our ups and downs and the things we learn, and hope that some of the info benefits some of you guys. I think long term, they really don't make sense for us to keep here, but I would still like to give ducks another chance. So after doing a lot more reading, we are going to try Khaki Campbells as our new experiment in the world of duck breeds. We'll see how that goes. I have got some ducklings ordered. Ordered eight hens and 2 drakes. Not that we'd need 2 drakes. I just wanted to have some options if someone happened to want, or a duckling didn't make it, or one turned out to be a jerk, because sometimes males do that. And we've got them coming in early April. The other thing that I've never really loved about these, and partly maybe it's because of how they were raised with the ability to free range and all, but they're very, very easily spooked. I mean, these babies have grown up here on our place. They've seen me every day of their lives. They've never had anything stressful happen to them, like a coon attack that had happened with their parents. They never, they've just never been stressed anyway at all. And every time I walk into their pen with food or water, which I bring them every day, they panic and fling themselves against the fence, like I'm the most terrifying creature they have ever seen in their entire lives. Which, I'm not looking for a duck that needs to cuddle quite as much as Velcro, but it'd be nice if they didn't have a complete, heart attack every time I get close to them. Now going back into their yard out of the camera picture. Anyway, so I have ordered some Khaki Campbell ducks, going with them, and we'll let you know in a year or two how they work, because they are the best egg-laying breed of duck. Well, my ducks walked out of the picture anyway, and I think the wind's kicking up with more blizzarding in it here. So move the camera under the shelter of the lean-to. Anyway, Khaki Campbells are supposed to be the best egg-laying duck there is, laying up to, not that every single individual will do this, but up to possibly 365 eggs in a year, even beating out most top chicken-laying breeds. So if we find that they do that for us, and they're also supposed to be pretty cold hardy and tough, if they do that for us, then whether or not we really enjoy the taste of any spare drakes that we end up with over time, if we're at least getting excellent egg production, then that's worth it. I can cook ducks that that aren't our favorite into soups and stuff, where the distinct, unique flavor is not the main thing, so we can still deal with that. But if we're getting egg production that is excellent, then that's worth the time, because they do take a good bit of time in the winter here, where I'm always they're coming to see me on the camera again now. See if you guys can see them there. The snow is too thick. They're walking up behind me. It does take a good bit of time, because I do a lot more breaking ice water for them, because they go through so much water and splash a lot more water compared to chickens, though they are much cold hardier. Khaki Campbells are supposed to be cold hardy. They are a much smaller duck, so they're a little more close to the same size as our chickens. So we're also hoping, that's a snowplow if you can hear it in the background heading down the county road, that means they will eat proportionally less food, making the egg production also slightly more profitable, and we'll just see how that works. Now, I've normally not gotten or tried to have, despite that Foggy's in there trying to hatch chicks right now, because that was her idea, not mine, to have babies here until like early June, because we are normally below freezing until then, and we've been, every single time I've had chicks show up, it gets below freezing the next couple nights, no matter when it's been in June. But anyway, I, instead of going with my normal scheduling, did order them to arrive here in April, when there should still be a lot of snow outside, and therefore I can't yet do all of my spring things that take all of my time and energy. And because I would like ducks that didn't panic every time I approach them, we're going to try hand raising them, a little more probably in the shop by the wood stove for the first week or so at least, and I just want to have the time to handle them every few minutes all day long and play with them and just get them more, hopefully, tame. I've seen other people's videos of Khaki Campbells that were raised in that manner who were very, very tame and calm and friendly, and then ones that were very panicky. So we'll see what we end up with. But that's what we're planning to do, is add a flock of Khaki Campbells here in the place. The long-term goal is still the same as with our chickens and other things. We want ones that can handle the conditions here, can find a good bit of their food in the summer, can eat things that hopefully we can produce and preserve more for ourselves over time in the winter, that give us something useful in return for us giving them useful things like a safe place to live and food and water and all of that. And so then what are we going to do with these guys that just waddled over there behind me? I'm not entirely sure. I do like them, the funny little weirdos. I think that when our other ones are about to show up, I was shocked when we had some extra girls out of our meat bird batch last year, how fast, within just a few hours of listing them here locally, plenty of people wanted them. So I might see if I could sell them to somebody else here locally who is more interested in a pet duck, who wants a flock that are all friends with each other and are pretty and are funny just to watch. We'll see what happens, but I don't think they're going to stay here long term, which is a little bit sad because we have put 2 years of time into them. They were all hatched here on our property, and all but their mother, and so on. And anyway, that's what we're thinking right now, because we are trying to run not just a house around here. I mean, we haven't even got to building the real house yet, but, more of a homestead, where instead of it just being a money sink where it takes money for utilities and repairs and upkeep and stuff, which of course there are those things, we want our property to do productive things that help feed and nourish and support us and the animals on the property and more wild animals and all of that. That's what we're generally working towards. So for our particular situation, the Swedish Ducks just haven't worked out super well, even though they have quite a few good points in their favor, like I listed, but I think we're going to try something a little different going forward. So that is the duck update, and I'm hoping that somewhere here in a week or two we are going to start getting some eggs from these girls, since we have kept them for a good bit of a year here now with no production. The young ones, the seven babies, are just about exactly 8 months old now, and they've been adult size and appearance basically for 7 months of that time, but they have not done anything productive and useful. And I know ducks, and I knew going into it, ducks had a spell where they didn't lay. I wasn't expecting it to be 3 months of production to 9 months of nothing, however. So that's how it's worked out for us, and why we're going to be trying a little different flock. And so keep following along, and you'll get to see some new ducklings showing up here after a while. But that's our ups and downs and what we're learning and what we're trying, and where we're at with our duck flock right now. This is actually the first day in like a month it's been above, or like right at freezing, and so there's some water drops coming off the roof of the shop as they melt off the black roof. And so the ducks, with Zipper, our cat, in the background there, are climbing the snow pile there to dibble in the drips coming off the roof. They think that's a very fun thing to do because they're ducks and they like anywhere there is water. The more liquid, the better. That's the steam coming off them after they took a nice morning swim in about 40-degree water I brought them when it was about 29 below zero Fahrenheit, minus 35 Celsius, whatever that is. They voluntarily jumped in very excitedly, took a swim, and that's the steam both from their breath and evaporating or sublimating or whatever off their feathers. Just in case you're wondering, these birds at any point that they want to can be inside their dry run or their nice dry little duck hut barn, but they pretty much choose to be outside all day, and they will go in their yard at night, but they don't even sleep in their duck hut then. They sleep out in the open. But they do have that option. They're out here because they want to be.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.